Welcome to Full Send into Adulthood, hosted by Dr. Cielle a former professor, dean, and certified life coach. This podcast is for you amazing young adults and is a go-to for all things adulting. Join us for conversations about what matters to you, including navigating the often overwhelming ride of adulthood, redefining what's possible for yourself and your communities, and creating a life that you are proud of on your own terms, even if nobody else is doing it. We're igniting a movement where you change the game and challenge the marginalization that often comes with being a young adult. Ready to feel better about this adulting thing? Let's do it.
Welcome to episode 3. I am so excited for y'all to be here and for us to have this conversation or this discussion because it is all about how you, young adults specifically, focusing on leading right now personally meaningful lives, getting out of your own way, getting past self-doubt, and living the lives that you know you want to be living without waiting 20 years to do so. You doing that actually impacts and creates social change, which I know is also crazy important to y'all. And I respect that so much. So if you're wondering, how is that even possible? I promise I will elaborate. So here is what I hear often when y'all come to me and want either advice or you want to work with me. It's usually around self-doubt and confidence. So here are some things that y'all say that you want to work on. You want to work on believing in yourself more. You want to be able to change without being so scared. You want to be able to get rid of all of the negative self-talk. You want to know for certain that you are enough. You want to be able to put yourselves out there for things that are important to you. You don't want to feel the pressure to perform. You want to be able to be yourselves. You want to be independent. You don't want to settle. You want to stop being indecisive and being able to make choices that work for you and you know feel good for you. I want to stop holding myself back. Yes, I did read from a list of exact quotes from clients, from young adults such as yourselves. Now, what is underlying those is a fear usually, or a worry that you're not going to live life, your life, the way that you know is possible, the way that you have dreamt is possible. And usually that includes your words, living a life that is fulfilling, purpose-driven, meaningful, beneficial to our communities, joyful, peaceful, one there where I feel good, one where I just feel okay. Many of y'all bring colors into it and you'll say, I just want my days to not feel so gray. I want to be able to see color again. I want to be able to feel color again. And I so want that for you. So my intention when I think about this podcast, but also just all of the different ways that I want to be able to support y'all in your lives, is for you to do those things on an individual level. That's really important to me. And what's freaking amazing is by y'all doing that social change that you want to create, that impact that y'all want to make for your communities, happens. It's phenomenal. How? Because, and I don't think people talk about this enough, and I am going to say this out loud, is I believe that young adults are a marginalized community in our world. What do I mean by that? The definition of marginalized, and this is a very general definition, is when there is little to no influence or power. And when I say young adults are marginalized, what I mean is y'all are left out of the conversations related to your power, related to your wealth making abilities, related to your expertise, to your intellect, to your decision making, to your ability to create positive change now in your 20s. We leave young adults out of conversations on being leaders now, on being amazing, exceptional leaders now. And I am on a freaking personal mission to change that narrative, because I am absolutely in the belief that y'all owning your power now, y'all knowing that you have what it takes, that you are enough now to not only live the lives that you want, but to make the changes that you want and to be in the careers that you want and to make decisions that will ultimately benefit humanity now, will fucking change the world. And I am here for it. I'm here for it. So here's what's been so interesting to me, especially with this graduation season. We are just coming out of graduation season as I'm recording this podcast. Now, when I look at posts related to recent graduates, there are some amazing adjectives that we use to describe these graduates. Words like change makers, trailblazers, they're innovative, they're so intelligent, they've got so much grit, they're so smart, they persevere no matter what the costs, they know their worth. Words that I actually took from posts that I saw related to recent graduates. Now, here's what's interesting, y'all. If y'all are questioning whether or not we marginalize young adults, is the next day, if we're taking college graduates, for example, or even high school graduates at this point, and they enter the workforce, the very next day, those are not the words that we use to describe them. Nope. Instead, we use adjectives like entitled, naive, lazy. They're out of touch. What's even more interesting is an adjective that was used as a positive for the graduating person, as in they are confident and they know their worth. The next day, again, as soon as they enter this workforce, it's now turned against them. And it's, how dare you? How dare they ask for more money? How dare they question salaried positions? How dare they not want to work overtime and not be paid for it? How dare they? I'm here to acknowledge that ageism exists. We know this ism called ageism. And in our society, we tend to think about that as the older people. We discriminate against those who are older. And here, I would like to express that we also discriminate against those who are younger. Now, this puts y'all young adults in a really awful position. Because here's what I know about your generation that I am so in awe of, is that y'all see oppressive systems, gaps, and brokenness in these systems, ways that they do not work, so clearly, in a way that I don't believe any other generation sees it. You are really clear about how these oppressive systems that are huge and big and continue these machines don't work. You are clear that you do not want to participate in those anymore. You are clear that you do not want to do it our way, right? Y'all are like, we see what y'all have done, millennials and Gen Xers, how y'all went along with those systems, and now you're burnt out and you're exhausted and you're resentful. So yeah, we know we don't want to do that. And yet there's a hopelessness about it because y'all are also really aware that these systems are big. They've been in motion for a long ass time. And on top of that, we marginalize young adults so that we don't even acknowledge as a society your power in being able to make positive change to each of these oppressive systems that know longer work. Actually, I would just venture to say that haven't worked in the past too, but those can be conversations for the future. Amidst these circumstances, amidst what is going on in the world, can you see that it makes complete sense that you may feel paralyzed about how to move forward, that you may feel overwhelmed, that you may feel hopeless or resentful? Of course you would. But here's the secret. Here's the stuff that people don't share. Young adults, y'all are fucking powerful. Marketing companies know that. Do y'all know that the number one demographic, the most important demographic that marketers are looking at are 18 to 24. That's where they put their funding. Why? Because y'all make the change. Y'all are the driving force. And that's the same with elections, y'all. Here in the United States, we're going into an election season. Who are they targeting? Yeah, they're targeting y'all. For a reason. Isn't it interesting that behind closed doors, it is common knowledge that young adults, that y'all are drivers of change, that y'all are powerful, that you already hold a lot of power. And yet, to your faces, we say things like, you don't know enough yet. You're out of touch. You don't have enough knowledge. You can't be a leader yet. You got to work in the system for 20 years and then maybe come talk to me. You've got to participate in your own oppression for 20 years, and then you might have the insight to make a change. Oh my gosh, let's stop it. Let's stop it. So when I am talking about making changes now, living lives that are fulfilling to you now, I mean it. Y'all are so clear about not wanting to be exploited. Y'all are so clear that changes are needed. Are y'all making the changes in your lives? When you start to question decisions and choices in your lives, when you start to question the systems at play in your individual lives, those questions ripple. People and communities start to see, oh, maybe there are inequities here. Maybe changes do need to be made. Major corporations are rethinking salaries. Why? Because of you. All of this to reiterate, when you ask me or when you wonder, am I enough? My answer is a resounding yes, 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 yes. And because of things out of your control, because of the air that you breathe, because of the soil that you were brought up in, you living the lives that you want to live now, you having confidence, you being able to trust yourselves, you being able to stand up for yourself to parents, to elders, to communities, to corporations, to your boss, to your church, to your schools is tough. Not because there is anything wrong with you, because instead it was designed that way. And that design, those designs are something you young adults so clearly are aware of and so clearly know need to change. I absolutely trust y'all to do it in ethical manners. Why? Because ethics matters to you. Benefit for all matters to you. It actually is interesting. I just remembered when I was thinking of podcast names, the one that I kept coming to was fuck shit up. We're gonna just fuck shit up. My kids were the ones that were like, Mom, I don't know if people would really understand what your podcast is about, but perhaps in this episode, y'all could get a sense. So when I say I'm ready to fight dragons with y'all, I freaking mean it. And it's also such a freaking honor that I get to be there with you because y'all have the knowledge base. You know what's up in a way, again, that us older generations do not know of. We were willing to accept our exploitation for many, many, many years. We were willing to play in the rat race. And where are we now? Y'all know it. We're exhausted. We're burnt out. We're resentful. We're trying to find new jobs. There's this midlife crisis. We don't know what our purpose is. Why? Because we've been following somebody else's purpose for so long that we don't even know how to tell what we want. We don't know. Because for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, we've been told what we should want, and we've been regurgitating that shit. And guess what, y'all? Y'all are not regurgitating. Y'all are like, that's messed up. We're not going to do that. And yet, we don't know what's next. And we can look at that a couple ways. It could be that it's a very unfair place to be, which can absolutely be true because you are now at a place where you need to reimagine what is next. And that takes effort. That takes a willingness. That takes perseverance and grit. On the other hand, we could also look at it like it's a bit of an open slate. Y'all know that there are things to tear down. And in its place, you get to create what that is. That could be hella empowering. And please know that if social change is not even on your docket, it's not even something that you're interested in. What you really want to do is buy a plot of land and create a homestead and do your own thing. That's absolutely worthwhile. Okay? And the sneaky part is that it actually is creating change because you're showing other people that there are a variety of ways to do this life. So it may be at this point where you're like, all right, Cielle, I get it. We're powerful. We're amazing human beings. Systems are messed up. We're about to create the change. And here we get to do it by focusing on our own damn lives first and trusting that that will make the difference. Now what? You're still not giving us anything related to confidence or how do we actually stand up for ourselves or how do we not hold ourselves back? So how do we actually move closer and closer and closer to this thing that we deem self-confidence? My personal answer is by focusing on two major foundational tenets. And I would say that these are foundations to all of my coaching. It's sort of like, this is where I come from. This is the foundation, and then we build from there. And the foundations are twofold. Number one, that we make sense, that you make sense, that I make sense. As humans, we make sense as is. What does that mean? That how you do things or don't do things makes sense. How you react or don't react to things makes sense. How your brain works, how your emotions are, who you are, what comes easy, what comes hard, the things that you like, the things that you don't like. All of the things that make us us makes sense and is valid. Number one. Number two is once we can start to little by little validate that the way that we do things and who we are makes sense and is valid, we can then start to trust ourselves more and more. We can trust our gut reactions more and more. We can trust our logic. We can trust our decision-making skills. We can trust how we want to lead, what we want to stand by more and more. So those are the two. And if you want to know what we're going to be discussing in the next upcoming episodes, oh, it's those. We'll be talking about those amongst other things, and I cannot wait. Now I'm thinking that I should probably leave y'all with something practical. Here's one way right now. So as I am saying that we fundamentally make sense, or that we can start to build trust with ourselves, I have a sneaking suspicion that you may have a little voice right here that's like, perhaps not. She's talking to everybody but me. She's saying that we fundamentally make sense. And I can see that theoretically, but there's this one thing. Like, it can't be because my brain's broken because I have ADHD, or something's wrong with me because I'm dyslexic, or she doesn't know that I procrastinate all the freaking time. What I'm saying is yes, all of those make sense, but we live in a society that has over and over and over taught us to distrust ourselves, taught us that there is something that is broken inside of us, something that we need to fix. We have a society that has pathologized us over and over and over again. So of course we're going to at some point believe them and internalize that because that's all we know. Again, that's what we've been brought up in. And so at this point, what I'm saying is, what if you were procrastinating for an amazing reason? What if ADHD brains are actually necessary to human survival and have been necessary to human survival? What if? Okay, that's where I will leave you. You all are amazing. I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Bye. I realize that we are at the beginning of our podcasting journey together. However, if you are already excited, already wanting to share this with people in your lives, already thinking that it would be beneficial to have these conversations on a more global scale, there are ways that you could support that. One of the main ways is to like, follow, and subscribe on whichever platform you are watching or listening to me on. You could always comment. I would love to know what you found helpful or interesting in any of the episodes. And of course, if you have ideas about what conversations, what topics you would like to cover in the future, please let me know. Again, this podcast is for you. Other ways that you can find me are on social. So I am on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Cielle Amundson. That is at CIELLEAMUNDSON. Find me there, say hi, let's start a conversation. And if this is something that you think other people in your lives would love to be a part of, would love to hear, would love to be in conversation with, please share this with them. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you or having you at the next episode.